Let's dive right into this. When we look at a house, it is super easy to just think of the roof as this static lid, right? Like it just sits there and keeps the rain out. But honestly, that is a really dangerous underestimation. Your roof is actually an active, highly engineered shield. It's a complex system that is literally constantly fighting off severe environmental stressors. And let me tell you, nowhere is that battle more intense than in areas famous for extreme weather.
I mean, really think about it for a second. What actually happens to a structure when it gets absolutely slammed by straight-line winds hitting 70 miles per hour, and then boom, followed by a barrage of baseball-sized hail? We are talking about incredibly dramatic stakes here, especially for folks living in tornado alleys like out in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's an absolutely punishing environment, and it is going to expose weak installations and subpar materials unbelievably fast.
So, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover Oklahoma's extreme weather threat, how to build a storm-tested roof, what the replacement process actually looks like, how to spot contractor red flags, and finally, costs and financing options.
All right, jumping into Section 1, Oklahoma's extreme weather threat. The thing you gotta understand is that it's a relentless, year-round assault. Seriously, it never really stops. In the spring, severe thunderstorms bring massive hail and those 70-mile-per-hour winds we talked about, which causes nasty compound damage like impact fractures. Then summer rolls around, and the blazing heat can push roof surfaces past 160 degrees. That bakes and fatigues the sealants and loosens the fasteners. And then, just when you think your roof might get a breather, winter shows up with freeze-thaw cycles that create a whole new nightmare.
And that specific winter nightmare? It's called an ice dam. Basically, if a house has poor attic ventilation, the heat escaping from inside melts the snow sitting on the roof. That melted water runs down to the colder edges, the eaves, and it refreezes right there, creating a literal dam of ice. So as more snow melts, the water pools up behind it, has nowhere to go, and eventually gets forced backward under your shingles. Next thing you know, it's dripping directly inside your interior walls.
But get this, the threats aren't even just coming from the sky. In places like Payne County, the local expansive red clay soil actually acts as an antagonist right from the ground up. As the moisture levels in the ground change, that clay soil shifts, which causes foundation movement. And that movement transfers mechanical stress all the way up the walls and directly into your roof framing. So crazy enough, your roof is fighting the wind, the sun, the ice, and the actual dirt underneath the house.
Moving right along to Section 2, building a storm-tested roof to survive all this.
Because surviving extreme weather? Yeah, that doesn't just happen by accident. It relies on really strict engineering. This is where something called IRC Chapter 9 comes into play. It's part of the International Residential Code, and it basically establishes the absolute minimum standards for roof assemblies based on your local wind exposure. Local building codes use this exact chapter to mandate specific wind resistance ratings. It's a game changer because it empowers inspectors and homeowners to make sure a roof isn't just slapped on, but is seriously properly anchored.
So, what does proper anchoring actually look like? Well, let's compare. A generic, budget-focused roofer might just go with a standard 4-nail installation. And honestly, in high winds, those shingles are just going to blow right off. Extreme weather demands an enhanced 6-nail pattern, specifically using ring shank nails. That setup gives you vastly superior holding power deep into the roof decking, which you absolutely need to resist those massive, tearing uplift forces. And your choice of material is just as critical. If you go with budget-grade shingles, they're going to get brittle and fail super quickly under that constant thermal cycling and hail. But if you step up to Class 4 impact-resistant shingles, those use reinforced matting that is specifically designed to withstand shattering impacts. They're built like tanks. Plus, a huge bonus, they often qualify you for some pretty significant insurance discounts.
Let's switch gears to Section 3, the roof replacement process.
When you work with local experts, like the teams at United Roofing Oklahoma City that were detailed in our source material, they follow a very specific methodology to eliminate any nasty surprises. It basically breaks down into 3 core steps. Step 1 is a really comprehensive inspection, followed by a detailed written estimate, no guessing games whatsoever. Step 2 is the actual professional installation, which means they handle all the permits and coordinate with the local inspectors. And Step 3 is the final inspection and warranty registration. That guarantees the whole job actually meets those tough local building codes we just talked about.
But honestly, The real difference between just a decent job and a truly expert job is all in the details. A high-quality installation means they're sourcing materials locally to avoid shipping delays. It means they're laying down protective plywood walkways so they don't wreck your landscaping. And my absolute favorite detail, they use magnetic nail sweepers to clear your driveway, because nobody wants to get a flat tire 2 weeks after getting a new roof, right? Good crews also commit to post-storm inspections, coming back to check their work after the next big weather event rolls through.
Okay, moving to Section 4, spotting contractor red flags. This is super important.
Because look, right after a major storm, fly-by-night contractors are going to absolutely flood the area. So you have to know the warning signs. If a contractor demands full payment up front, run. No joke, just run. Legitimate pros might ask for a deposit, but never the total cost before starting. If they skip actually climbing up on the roof to do a physical inspection, they are 100% going to miss hidden damage. Also, beware of companies that don't have a local physical address, or anyone using manipulative, high-pressure, same-day-only pricing tactics. Oh, and if they suggest skipping the building permits, don't do it. Those permits are there to protect your investment.
Actually, there's this fantastic piece of advice from our sources that I absolutely love. It says, never tell a contractor you have not gotten other bids. Keeping your cards close to your chest, keeping your budget and your reference checking plans totally private, that is your leverage. And maintaining that leverage is the absolute key to making sure you get a fair, honest price on a replacement.
Let's tackle the elephant in the room now with Section 5, costs and financing options. Let's be real, this is usually the most urgent, anxiety-inducing question for any homeowner. A sudden 70-mile-per-hour storm just totaled your roof, you definitely didn't plan for this, and roof replacements are massive investments. So how on earth do you pay for a new roof when that kind of cash just isn't sitting right there in your checking account?
Fortunately, you've got some solid pathways here. Homeowners insurance is usually your first line of defense for storm damage. If it's an aging roof that just finally gave out, you can look into local credit union loans, FHA 203K refinance loans, or tapping into a home equity line of credit. Plus, a lot of reputable contractors actually offer direct payment plans. The most important thing is this: whatever route you take, do not delay. Ignoring a failing roof just allows water intrusion, and that is going to multiply your final repair costs exponentially.
And speaking of costs, I got to give you this critical warning. When you're budgeting, you have to prepare for the unknown. The single most expensive surprise during a roof replacement almost always happens right after they tear off the old shingles. Bam! That is exactly when the crew discovers rotten, water-damaged plywood sheathing or maybe structural issues from that shifting red clay soil we mentioned earlier. If your attic has been taking on moisture, replacing that wooden decking isn't optional. It is a non-negotiable safety requirement before any new shingles can go on.
Which brings us to our final thought today. Extreme weather is coming, it is really just a matter of when. But now you know the codes, you know the right materials, you understand the process, and you can spot the red flags a mile away. So I'll leave you with this question. When the next 70-mile-per-hour windstorm and hail barrage hits your neighborhood, is your roof engineered to hold the line, or is it going to fold under the pressure? Take a really hard look at your home's defenses before the next storm season arrives. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep on learning.